What's up, nerds, and welcome back to Comics and Cosmetics. I'm your host, Danny Sanssouci, licensed cosmetologist and registered super nerd, and today I want to tell you about something super cool that I read. What I'm going to tell you about really needs your help in spreading the word, and there's a way to do it, and I'm going to tell you all about it. If you're a fan of nerdy YouTube channels, since you're watching this one, then I'm sure you're aware of Josh from Den of Nerds. Den of Nerds is a huge YouTube channel that's been around about 6 years, but what you probably didn't know is that Mr. Josh from Den of Nerds actually worked in the comic book industry after leaving to pursue his YouTube career, which seems to have worked out pretty well for him. He's had this nagging idea for a story in the back of his head and had to put pen to paper. What resulted from that nagging idea is this super awesome comic book called Unity. A couple weeks ago, as part of his Kickstarter, he actually offered people on his Twitter kind of a sneak peek. I got to read the full issue, and it was really good. I've been reading comic books since I was a little kid. For those who don't know, I grew up in a children's hospital, and this was the 80s for the most part, so no internet, no cable. I read comic books, and I read them a lot. This instilled a lifetime love of comic books. It's a very personal medium for me, as I'm sure it is for a lot of people. I mean, my experience isn't really all that unique, but for my generation, I think especially, comics have been getting kind of weak in the last several years. I was asked a few times, like, hey, what new comic books are you reading? And I'm like, Wonder Woman Historia? Let's be honest here. Huge corporations own comic books now. They own the IPs. They're interested in sourcing material for blockbuster movies, which those exactly haven't been so great lately either. So there's not a lot of creative freedom for these writers and cartoonists. Yeah, they come up with some great ideas, some great designs, but there's always some corporate head telling them, no, you can't do that. No, this is what we want. Everything seems to be recycled. There's always some suit telling the creative what to do, and that's not exactly translated into groundbreaking art. But then I got the opportunity to check out Unity. And Unity is a really intriguing idea and concept. First thing I noticed right away when checking out Unity is the unbelievable artwork. The artwork is phenomenal. This is some of the best comic artwork I have seen in years. For this being an independent comic book, I was completely taken off guard. It's incredible. It's vibrant, but dark and grimy and emotional. You could really just flip through this book and enjoy it by viewing the art. It's just absolutely stunning, well crafted, meticulously well crafted. You can tell there was a clear vision, and not just Josh having this clear vision of what he wanted, but he was able to articulate that vision to his partners. That's really hard to do. Have you ever pictured something in your head and had to describe that to someone? It's not easy at all, but somehow Josh has really been able to do that. And hats off to you, man. I know we've all had these thoughts and questions like, but what if superheroes were real? Like, how would the world really react if there were X-Men? Or what would the real Avengers be like? How would real people handle actual superpowers? Because people aren't perfect. People aren't Superman, okay? People are very, very multidimensional. People are very flawed. And the everyday average person has things like intrusive thoughts and moments of pettiness. It's normal human stuff. But what happens if they get ultimate power? We all know what happens to real people whenever they come into lots of money and power over others. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? They go mad with just having money and the ability to fire people. Imagine if those people had actual superpowers. The world would go nuts, right? That's what happens in Unity. It starts off with saying it was a day like any other. And then all of a sudden, these golden beams of light come down from the heavens. And when that happened, around 3,000 people all over the world receive the gift. They get these superpowers. They don't know where this light has come from. And after reading this first issue, you still don't know by the end of it. But there's this magical golden light all over the planet, and 3,000 people get superpowers. Totally normal Tuesday afternoon. And what I like about this is that it's a mystery for now. Sometimes you just have to have some mystery. Like Marvel explains all magic with some kind of cosmic-y thing. It's some kind of cosmic entity. It's some kind of radiation. There's always some kind of science behind it. And to me, that gets boring. Like, why can't it just be a mystery? Sometimes that's fun. It's engaging. It keeps you guessing. And that's what I like about Unity and the Golden Light is they don't know what happened. It just happened. And now all these people all over the world have the ability to fly, super strong, telepathy, and the world experiences what it's like to really have superpowers. What happens? What do you think happens? World War III happens, like this massive world war. The world is like at the mercy of normal humans with human flaws, failings, and emotions with superpowers. They were walking, talking, flying paths of destruction, and they were just slaughtering millions of people a day. The world almost doesn't survive this until another miracle happens. This golden guy shows up that they call Midas, who is a synthetic man from another planet, and he addresses the United Nations, and he's like, hey, I'm here to help you. And at this point, the entire world is like, thank God, I'm so tired. No, I don't need to do a background check. No, I'm not questioning the convenience of this. Just, I could really use some help. The world has become a single mom with 4 kids, basically. Someone shows up and says, hey, would you like me to, help clean the house, maybe babysit a little bit so you can take a nap? And the world's like, yes, please. I'm so tired. Thank you. So they don't question it. They're like, yay. But he does help. He does start kind of corralling these superpowered people. And the government does exactly what the government does best. And they start experimenting on these superpowered people. Say that 5 times fast. Superpowered people, superpowered people, superpowered people, superpowered people. They start experimenting and they create a serum called Serum H. And of course, they use it to build their own army of superpowered people. With this army of superpowered people, Midas, the Golden Man, and this General Xander turn the tide of the world war and start bringing things back to order. Here's the thing. There was a rule that, okay, you have superpowers. That's fine. However, join us or die. Join us or die. Join us or die. If you didn't agree to be a soldier in the Unity Corps, which is what they called this now worldwide military government thing, then you were either imprisoned or you were donezo. Ever since then, there's been this kind of tenuous balance, an armistice, if you will. So instead of the world being at the mercy and living in fear of the superpowered people that were given the gift from the magical golden light, they are now under the control and at the mercy of the Unity Corps led by General Xander. And it's been about 30 years by the time our story begins. Despite General Xander's efforts to convince the public that he has everything under control, there is a resistance. And Xander, his subordinate and side piece Angel, and other of his soldiers, they're attacked psychically, but they don't know by who. And they know it has to be some really, really powerful telepath. And to Xander, that means this Dr. Sands. So he finds this Dr. Sands in Capital City, and he's like, it wasn't me. And Midas is like, dude, we need Dr. Sands' help, so don't kill him, take him with us. This Dr. Sands is now enlisted by General Xander. Find out who is leading this resistance, really, and who attacked him. Even though there was no permanent damage, it still shows a weakness that has to be taken care of. General Xander is this cold, calculating, somehow charismatic guy, but he's also extremely guilty of hubris. hubris. He doesn't think that the resistance is as big of a threat as it actually is, despite what Midas continues to tell him. And he kind of doesn't care because he's like, I got Dr. Sands on it. We're going to figure out who this was and we're going to destroy him. What he's done is he's given Dr. Sands, who is part of the resistance, as it turns out, access to the fact that this Serum H isn't this great scientific breakthrough. They didn't synthesize anything. They have to get it from the actual gifted people. So they keep them half alive in tanks and drain them of it. So it's a finite resource. The only way that they can get it is by making more and basically farming them. Xander is a guy who feels righteous, who feels justified in his actions, that he has to do these terrible things for the greater good. That he seems completely unaware of his own selfishness, his own cruelty, and his own desire for power. And he gave himself the serum so that he could be superpowered as well. Where did Midas come from? What is Dr. Sands really up to? Who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy? I don't know yet, and I love it. I really hate reading something or watching something and I've got it figured out within the first 5 minutes. It's really, really boring. I mean, who doesn't like being right all the time? But it can get boring. This book, I have no idea what's going on. I just know I'm totally invested and I want more. The writing is top shelf. It's a really interesting story. It's new. It's different. It has my full attention. No shade or disrespect to other YouTubers that happen to have come out with their own comic books. Unity makes those other ones look like amateur hour. I am not kidding. This one is just I really see great things coming from this. I mean, this has legs. This can really hold its own against Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse. I fully believe that. The story has lots of depth. It's not one-dimensional by any means. There is something in this book that could intrigue anybody. And it comes out the gate swinging from page 1. I mean, it is nonstop. You can't stop reading it until the story's done because you don't want to. There's always something happening. It's absolutely action freaking packed. You want explosions? You got explosions. You want blood and guts? You've got blood and guts. You want a little romance? There's a little bit of that there too. There's something for everybody. But it's so well done. You can tell that the time was taken to make this the quality that it is. I can't recommend it enough. It was a fantastic read. I'm really looking forward to more. And Josh wants to make this a full series. He wants to do a full 100-page graphic novel in 5 chapters. And what I have here is just chapter 1, and it is dope. It's like post-apocalyptic, futuristic, Blade Runner meets The Boys, meets X-Men, meets Escape from New York. Like it's good stuff. And I really think you should check it out. I'm going to put his Kickstarter information in the description below. The least you could do is click on it. Just click on it, check it out, watch the video, contribute if you can. Every little bit counts. But do us one more thing. Share. If you don't share this video, share the Kickstarter, okay? Support independent artists. Again, corporate world has totally 100% taken over our nerddom. They have taken over comic books, TV shows, movies. They're all the same. And it's leaving them empty and bland. This is spicy. This is a spicy book, and I think you should check it out. Check out the Unity Kickstarter. I really hope you consider contributing or just sharing the information. If you like the content I'm putting out, do me a favor. Hit that like button. I hope you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you get notified when I'm back with even more nerdy content. Until then, nerds, I've been Danny, you've been awesome, and I will see you in the next one. Make sure you check out your beds tonight, though, because
Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you!